Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? I hope you're all doing well today. We're going to be waiting for Niko, who's our guest again. Niko, the medium. I had him on once before. He was absolutely amazing, and we really didn't get to touch upon all the topics. So, of course, I had to have him back again. So, if you have any questions for Niko, make sure that you leave them in the chat. And of course, there's chat rooms on most social media platforms that you can join us and say hello. We stream all over the place: Rumble, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, you name it, we're there. And of course, a big thank you to United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And to reiterate, you can catch them on FM radio as well at 105.3 on the Gulf Coast, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. And of course, we stream everywhere. So if you can, please be sure and subscribe. I would love for you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Ethereal Encounters Unveiled on YouTube. So if you can mosey on over to there, I would be ever so grateful. These types of topics typically sometimes get shadow banned or pushed back into the algorithm. I don't know why, because they're absolutely wonderful and enlightening and help us through this spiritual awakening that we're having. So I definitely would appreciate it if you would go to Ethereal Encounters. The spelling is right there. It's ETHEREAL, Encounters Unveiled, on YouTube. And of course, you can find me on Facebook and, like I said before, all of the other platforms. Niko has a class and it ends, I think, at 5. So he's going to be popping in as soon as he's done, which I totally get and appreciate that he decided to join us during his busy day. And of course, I'm going to be saying hello to people. Mort, hello, dear one. It's always such a joy to see you guys in the chat. I absolutely love it. Don't be shy. Pop in the chat. Ask a question. Niko would be more than happy to answer. And, trance mediumship is pretty prevalent all over social media. I mean, the big names are Bashir, that we all know, who's known as Daryl Anka. And he's very well known for channeling this entity called Bashir, who is an extraterrestrial entity. And there are so many others. Esther Hicks, Jay-Z Knight. There's tons of them. So check them out. I legit believe in them. And as I said, I had Niko on before. Oh, Heidi. Star Sis, love you dearly. You know that. Gosh, show wouldn't be the same without you. And you know I mean that from the heart. Yeah, what was I saying? So today's topic is going to be the architecture of the soul and consciousness, trance mediumship, spirit communication, and contact experiences. And we love those. So Niko's going to be talking to us about all of those topics and more. And hopefully we'll have time and he'll be able to go into a trance-like state for us. Yes, Heidi. Heidi said, I saw Niko on another show. Absolutely loved the chit chat and his energy. Yeah, his story is pretty amazing. I'm going to have him reiterate it, of course, today for those folks that don't or aren't too familiar with him. So, for much of human history, basically, experiences like trance mediumship and spirit communication and contact encounters have been labeled as woo-woo science, mysterious, frightening, and some people even tag it as dangerous, which I guess I don't know. I've never had that. Nothing but pleasant, wonderful experiences. And I want you to ask yourself, what if those reactions come not from the experiences themselves, but rather from a lack of understanding? And I think that's so true with so much of what we're going through right now. There's billions of people experiencing what we call an awakening, a spiritual journey. And it's so important to be able to clarify a lot of these topics. So, tonight we're going to be exploring the architecture of the soul and consciousness, the internal structure that makes these phenomenon not random or chaotic. Oh, this is Niko. Maybe he's having trouble getting in. Hey, Niko, I'm live right now waiting for you.
Hi, I just emailed you. I'm clicking on that link with StreamYard. It's not working. It says it's just not going.
All right, no worries, dear. I'm gonna send it to you right now. I'm gonna check your email. I'm gonna send it to you right now, dear. All right, bye bye. Okay, thank you so much. Give me a minute. Okay, so technology, you gotta love it. So let me just send Niko the link. And sometimes with StreamYard, that happens. You know, like I try to send links relatively close to the interview. All right, I just sent him that. And because sometimes they get corrupt. Yes, Heidi, that was here. Yes, we had him on this show before. And I'm sure you were here and did see that. It was a few months ago, maybe 2, 3 months ago. So while Niko is joining us, tonight we're going to be joined by him. And his work focuses on the architecture of the soul and consciousness, the internal structure that makes the phenomenon not random or chaotic, but intelligible and natural. And Niko also teaches that when we understand which parts of us is actually involved in these experiences, fear dissolves, clarity replaces speculation. So this conversation isn't about belief or trying to get you to believe. It's about comprehension and maybe bringing some clarity to you about these topics. Hello, Francis. Such a joy to have you. And again, don't be shy. We love having you in the chat. I don't know, some people, I guess, are shy. I mean, when I go to people's podcasts, I always pop in the chat, even just to support them and say hi. And you guys rock, those of you that do decide to join and ask questions to Niko. If you have any question at all, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Oh, good, Heidi. Awesome. Yeah, type them in the chat. I'm going to store them on the side, which I kind of forgot that feature was there. So this way, when I'm scrolling, I don't miss any of you guys' questions. I always take advantage of asking questions to guests when they're on other people's podcasts. Lots of times they do get to answer them, and it can bring so much clarity, whether it revolves around spirit communication. Maybe you're missing a loved one and you would like to communicate with them, which I think that they and believe that they always are available to us, our loved ones that have crossed to the other side. I believe that they're always around watching us, guiding us, and taking care of us. So, yeah, I'm just looking at the chat. And if you do too, I'm sure Niko wouldn't mind tapping in and answering some of those questions or any question really that you guys might have. So I'm going to check my email to make sure I don't see a reply yet. So I'm sure he's going to pop in momentarily. He got in last time with no problem. StreamYard, I like, but sometimes it could be a little bit glitchy. I used to use Zoom all the time before I became a part of this network, the United Public Radio. And Zoom was good. It was okay. It had problems too. But their platform of preference is StreamYard. and it does have a lot of great features. So, Janie, blessings, dear friend. Thank you so much for joining us today. And if you missed any of what I said, if you have any questions for Niko, by all means, leave them in the chat. I'm going to star them to make sure that we do ask them and don't miss any of them. I'm hoping that Niko got that link okay. Let me just check. You gotta love technology. I mean, oh, here he is. I just heard him come on in. All right. We'll let him finish getting set up. And Niko's in Greece, but here he is.
Hi.
Hi, Niko. So good to see you.
I never got the email. I had to go back to the one.
Oh, jeez. Technology, you gotta love it.
Hi.
So good to see you again, my friend.
I was hoping it's the same. You as well. How have you been?
Good, good. How are your holidays? And I know you're in Greece. What time is it over there? Are we a little
midnight,
lagged?
12 after 12.
Okay. We have a little bit of a lag, so I'll give you a second to answer. No worries. So I had asked you how your holidays were. Good.
It's after midnight. They were good, thank you. It was quiet, and it's after midnight here. I'm 7 hours ahead of Eastern Standard.
Jeez, thank you so much for staying up for us. Greatly appreciate it.
It's my honor.
Thank you. I was kind of perusing your website before, and I love some of the classes that you teach, and we'll focus on them at the end, but before we wrap up, because I definitely want to take a class or two with you. They look amazing. And again, we'll talk about all that good stuff as we come to a close.
Absolutely. I'd love to anytime. More than welcome.
Good.
Hi, Heidi.
Heidi's our star sister, truly. She really is. And there's so many awesome people in the chat, and I hope more pop in. I'm sure they will. And I told them that if they have any questions for you, don't hesitate to ask. I'm sure you wouldn't mind answering them.
Absolutely. I'd love to.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so the topic today is one that's dear to my heart. The architecture of the soul and consciousness, trance, mediumship, spirit communication, and contact experiences. So where do you want to start in that mix of wonderful topics?
We'll just start with the architecture. We're going to make it very simple for everyone who's listening, okay? Most conversations about consciousness start with experiences, what people saw, felt, or encountered, okay? I prefer to start with structure because once structure is clear, the experience stops being confusing, okay? The confusion around trance, spirit contact, and even UFO experiences doesn't come from the experiences themselves. It comes from collapsing consciousness, awareness, and identity into one thing.
So how do we do that? It sounds like it's a little more complicated than it sounds, I'm sure, but what's the first step that we could take towards that goal?
Okay, first is to understand that consciousness is not something we have. It's what experience happens within. Okay, so consciousness isn't personal. It isn't owned. It isn't individual in the way identity is. Okay, when people say we are consciousness, it sounds abstract. But what it really means is that awareness is never outside of it. See, so now if we recognize consciousness for what it is, then the next is to recognize awareness as position. Okay, awareness is where consciousness is focused. It has position. All right, it can relocate without anything mystical happening. So when we recognize that awareness moves all the time, when you daydream, when you're absorbed in music, when time disappears, okay? Trance isn't something entering us, it's awareness no longer identifying with the surface layer. Does that make sense?
It makes plenty of sense, especially the
Good.
daydreaming part. So when we daydream, it's such a freaky
Yeah.
thing because it's like an autopilot thing that we all do. So
Right.
what is happening when we daydream?
That's awareness moving. That's what it is, right? That's why we have to recognize it's separate from consciousness, right? Awareness is where consciousness is focused. It has a position. That's why it's constantly moving, right? So if we understand consciousness now and then awareness, then we have to focus on identity as the interface. Your human identity, your identity is functional. It's necessary. It's valuable. Absolutely, I agree with all of that. But it is not the seat of awareness. Identity is something consciousness uses, not something it is. So when awareness loses its grip on identity, people don't disappear. They become calmer, clearer, and less reactive. Right?
So true.
I always say in my courses, in my lectures, I always say, soften the identity. You're not going to ever lose it. Soften it. And when you soften it, you recognize where awareness is moving, what position is in, you focus on that, and then that goes to consciousness. Right? Now, we could go even deeper. This is the part that a lot of people don't speak about with the architecture. The higher self and the oversoul as an organizing intelligence. People say, they ask who's the higher self? How do I know them? The higher self isn't a personality. It isn't egoic. It isn't a guide speaking to us. Right? The higher self isn't above us. It's behind us, organizing the entire trajectory. Right? If the higher self is you, your essence, recognize it's also you, your essence. It organizes learning, experiences, timing, right? Not through control, but coherence.
Is the higher self consciousness or is it a bridge to consciousness?
Imagine a sphere, the human consciousness field. Okay? Now imagine awareness in the center of that field. Awareness is movable. Here we are with the human body. Awareness is movable from here to there, to that inner sphere of the human consciousness field. The human consciousness field is your inner layer. Outer layer is the auric field. Even that's misrepresented. When people say, I can see your auric field, you can't see it because it's on the outer layer. Okay? In other words, spirit does not connect to your body in your room. That's your human consciousness field. It's through awareness that you're connecting, interface also higher self, interface identity. Both meet at the awareness.
Gotcha.
So the same way the identity is not awareness and not consciousness, nor is the higher self. Another interface.
They're connected, right? They're all interconnected.
Look at it this way. When this physical form enters into this reality, you as the higher self places awareness into the human mind. Awareness is not part of the conscious mind. Awareness, they say the conscious mind is 15%, intuitive mind is 85%. That's where the awareness resides. Okay. So that's a piece of you. That's a part of your higher self, which is you as awareness with this physical body. So you never lose the compass. And you always have the connection through awareness into the human consciousness field. So if the outer layer is the auric field, and that's where spirit connects to the auric field, that impression merges into the human consciousness field. And through our awareness, we're able to receive all impressions. All modalities are there. May it be trance, evidential, whatever. And we also experience that without being a medium. That's your intuition. That's, you just know the right things to say at the right time. And you're like, how did I do that? How do I know this? Yeah. You recognize soul recognitions. It happens to us throughout our life. And our human mind, which cannot create emotion, it's not wired that way, because the emotion is in the intuitive field, not the conscious mind, which is part of the awareness, part of the essence. The human mind has to create something and identifies it. And if it cannot, and it cannot find anything in the subconscious that was stored like photographs throughout your whole life, it brushes off as imagination. And that's why you have so many naysayers.
Where does the unconscious mind fit into this narrative? Because, like, if you listen to Carl Jung and some great philosophers like that, they all tell us that the unconscious mind really controls everything. And they use the imagery of like an iceberg. So you see the top part of it sitting above the water, but then the bottom part of it is the unconscious mind, and it's huge. It's like the biggest
not the
part
subconscious mind. The subconscious mind.
That's what I've heard in the past. Like, where does that fit in? This unconscious brain of ours. You know, according to psychotherapy, they tell us that that's what really controls us without us consciously knowing and being aware.
Wait, you're not referring to the subconscious mind?
Subconscious, that's right? Correct. Yes, the subconscious mind. Where does that fit? Okay.
The unconscious mind is not a thing. It's a mislabel. Okay? The unconscious mind is not unconscious. It is awareness operating outside the field of identity.
Okay.
Okay? It's traditionally described as automatic processes, right? Hidden memories, instincts, conditioned patterns, bodily intelligence, emotional reactions that happen without thinking, right? But all of those involve intelligence. And intelligence requires awareness. So when they call it unconscious, it's already inaccurate.
Yeah.
You see? So what's happening again? What's happening again? Consciousness is the field in which all experience occurs. Awareness is the point of focus within consciousness. Identity is the narrow band of awareness we usually call me. Right. So anything awareness is doing outside identity gets labeled unconscious.
Yeah.
So again, what we call the unconscious mind is awareness functioning without identity narrating it. They didn't have the vocabulary when they were quoting this and writing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Function without identity narrating it is breathing, emotional processing, memory association, pattern recognition, trauma responses, intuition, trance entry, healing responses, dreaming.
Yeah.
Right? But think about it though. None of these are unconscious. They're just not supervised by identity.
Are they supervised by our conscious mind? Like who supervises that? Is it just our consciousness that oversees the whole thing?
intuition, dreaming, trance, all of this, you're recognizing it through your identity because you're experiencing it through your awareness. You understand? It's not that
I do.
anybody supervises it. It's just not being supervised by identity. And that's the control. We seek supervision and control and understanding. It doesn't happen that way.
So is our ego our identity in that they're one and the
Ego is
same?
part of the identity. It's all the conscious mind. Absolutely. See, now when people start understanding how things happen in the structure, fear dissolves, right? They stop thinking, especially in trance, they stop thinking something is taking over, right? Trance becomes safe. Nothing foreign is entering. Self-trust returns. The body and the psyche are revealed as intelligent. So the unconscious mind isn't a shadow. It's intelligence without commentary. That's what we don't recognize.
Hillbilly wants to know, is our
Hillbilly.
soul, yeah, I love his name, Hillbilly Herb. He says, is our soul the supervisor of it all?
Now, the soul, how do I say this gently? Again, we have to go back to centuries and the time and what vocabulary was offered then. Okay, even back then in those times, when somebody had an enlightened moment, when they connected, they just reached the connection to the higher self, and maybe the really enlightened ones went past it to the oversoul. But automatically, humanity said, that's God. This is the soul. Okay, but there's an entire other architecture structure past the oversoul, which leads to that infinite field of consciousness where the creator is. So what we call a soul is, again, human identity. We're attaching to something. And we believe all of us is a soul. But if your origin point in that field of consciousness isn't a soul, the same way the creator is not a soul. It's an expression.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense.
It's just how we see it from this ground level, if you will, of human eyes.
Why is it that some people have absolutely no interest or desire to connect to themselves on a spiritual level? They think this whole thing is woo-woo science, and they're so disconnected from it. Why is that? Why do some of us, live for this stuff and other people could care less?
But you see, it's not that we lived the entire existence for this stuff. It's now we had this remembrance. It's a remembrance.
Yes.
Because again, humanity is based on conditioning. Okay? Or even trance is taught to fear it. You must fear trance, you're gonna get possessed, which is ridiculous. True trance doesn't make you more special, it makes you less in the way. Trance is pure. It's who you are. It's an expression, the purest form of communication. But because these religious institutions seek power, governmental agencies seek power, they had to instill fear in the masses. So they closed all this down. When the witches of Salem, they burned them at the stake, they were trance mediums. They were mediums.
Yeah.
Right? But they burned them at the stake because they had to instill fear in order to gain control. And this species is still based on that same control.
Yeah,
so because today, people's minds are conditioned to fear.
Right.
Exactly. But their mind is taught to fear it, to dismiss it. It's it's an illusion, it's fake, it's whatever. There's more people that it's easier for them to just succumb to their own fear and their conditioned mind than to step outside the box and think for themselves.
I see.
But that's changing. That's why there's this widespread awakening. I mean, just a decade ago, let's say, what was it? 3 to 5% of people were awakened. Now it's more like 25, 30%. That's a big jump in the last 10 years.
It's huge.
And that's why trance is so important. When people understand this architecture I'm speaking about, I'm even writing this, my 4th book now, I have a 5th book behind that one. Trance stops being mysterious. What is trance? It becomes a natural repositioning of awareness within consciousness. That's it.
So it's a natural state
That's
for
what trance
humans.
is.
It's a natural state for humans to enter trance.
Because yeah, it's we all have the awareness within consciousness that we spoke about earlier. Remember the sphere, human consciousness field, awareness in the middle,
Yeah.
awareness in your mind, awareness of the higher self. It's all the same. We all have the same exact thing. All trance is it becomes a natural repositioning. See, when the identity, the human identity, is trying to connect with to the awareness, not the conscious mind, the awareness part, which gets you connected with spirit, understanding, remembrance of your own essence, the entire architecture, evidential, what have you. It's still the human identity trying to connect, which has limits. Everybody's identity is conditioned based on how their mind is conditioned through their beliefs, their education levels, their politics, their conversations, their relationships, everything. It's a conditioned life through experiences. And that's what makes each individual a unique identity. You can't connect to that awareness freely through the identity. Trance repositions. It's a natural repositioning of awareness because you're lessening, you're softening the human identity at a much greater degree. And you're still safe. You always come back. You're still breathing in this body. And that's what people aren't catching yet. And that's why I'm writing about trance. I'm teaching about trance. I'm advocating trance because it is they didn't label it the purest form of communication centuries ago for nothing.
Yeah.
But even with that limited vocabulary, if we take it with today's vocabulary, we have to understand what it truly is. It's a natural repositioning of awareness within consciousness. Like we said before, awareness is positioning. When people are struggling with their human life, when they're rejecting anything spirituality, it's the positioning of their awareness. The human identity is pulling it in another trajectory, far away from everything. That's why they don't believe. That's why they doubt everything.
That's so true. Gosh. Carrie said some people are so blocked by trauma and unbelief, they lose their identity of who they are. So sad. She said she almost did that. So trauma really does impact our connection to this architecture, right?
Yeah, because trauma grounds you more so into the human identity. You see, from the human lens, we view it as guilt, shame, if you're the victim or the victimizer, pain, confusion, all the emotions born of this realm due to that one event or the multiple events. From the lens of your higher self, from a spiritual lens, you recognize all that was intentional. Even if the mind doesn't want to hear it and the ego doesn't want to process it, it was intentional because that relationship was not born of this world. Even right now, we're not speaking human to human. That's the limit, the expandedness of our human intellect. Oh, we're speaking human to human because you see it and you hear it and the mind perceives it as real. The conversation is always essence to essence through the human vessels. So even that relationship, which was traumatic, which scarred you, or a great loss that you're still grieving, it didn't happen here. It's a soul agreement, a soul covenant, essence to essence, played out through these physical forms. So if we look at it from the lens of our higher self, there is no trauma. It's experiences we had to live through as a human to fully feel the pain, feel the confusion, feel the heartbreak, feel the loss, feel everything in order for that pain that we feel that we're living with to be integrated intimately with us, the higher self, and that's evolution.
Yeah, because if you think about it, all of our pain and suffering is really what makes us come in, like connect to our darker side in a way to heal, like through shadow work and stuff. You've got to move past the trauma, but you can only do that after you allow yourself to experience it, right?
Yeah.
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 Well, Hillbilly said something interesting. Maybe you can help us out here. He said, when I was a kid, I would spend hours on my own in dark closets. I thought maybe that was meditation. My old therapist said they call it disassociation. Now I'd say it was trance, making a safe place. What do you say, Niko?
When you spend those hours in the closet, what did you feel? Not what were you thinking, what did you feel?
Good
Okay, that's how
question.
you understand what was happening. That was what was happening. Don't perceive it. I'm in a dark closet and I'm imagining this is happening. That's just an interpretation of based on your human identity. Just as your therapist's advice is based on their human identity.
Right. Correct.
We don't really take everything people are telling us or teaching us, for that matter, without understanding where it's coming from. Is it coming from their perception as human identity, or is it coming from what they feel and they experience? Okay. Before we said about the soul, okay, there are levels of consciousness beyond what most people call the soul, right? But understanding those is not necessary for stability. Orientation comes before expansion. Same here. Orientation comes before expansion. Feel it, live it, integrate it, and then allow the identity to label what it is. Remember, the human brain cannot create emotion, it only labels it. So
Yeah.
live through it, allow the orientation to come. Then the brain is going to start labeling it, and that's expansion on both levels. By living it and orienting it, your essence lives, your essence grows. The mind now integrates, and that's expansion. That's what we call awakening.
That makes so much sense. So, Billy, ask yourself, wait, what did he say here? It seems a lot of my trance was centered around manipulating time, fast forwarding to a
Yeah.
happier time.
You know what? The way I always refer to things, if certain experiences are scattered and I really am having a difficult time splitting between my human identity, recognizing it, and what my essence is experience, I just ask myself a question: which part of consciousness is actually involved in this experience?
Mm.
And feel your way through that. It's always feeling. Again, awareness is in the human consciousness field. This is your essence. This is what this is all about. This is why we breathe. What happens, what we view from the lens of the human identity, what we perceive from the conscious, from the conditioned mind, this has nothing to do with your essence. So if you just ask which part of consciousness is actually involved in this experience, then you start breaking down consciousness. Then you start breaking down every single event in this life. Then you go even further into cross consciousness and cross overlapping of consciousness with parallel lives. Then it's endless.
Yeah.
You can sit there for hours and hours and hours, and by doing all that, you forget what was tripping you up in the first place.
Right. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Terry also says the Bible says about the spirit is wounded and the soul is in torment. This affects our projection into reality. Ephesians 6:12 says it's all about our consciousness.
Yeah. And again, I'm not going to sit there and dismiss religion, because for a lot of people, their human journey is very much about embracing religion. Again, it's not that every incarnation has to develop the same way. Like before, Kevin, when you said, how come not everybody's awakened and why don't they connect to spirit? Because every incarnation, every life is designed by what your highest essence is seeking to integrate, experience, learn on a deep, intimate level in order to could evolve. So perhaps another life, that incarnation is not awakened at all. It's all about suffering. It's very much about, maybe I'm a monk or a priest or whatever the case is. Maybe I'm the Pope. Maybe I'm doing something, but I'm also suffering greatly because I need to learn that life through that lens. That's why not everybody is going to awaken. Not everyone's going to remember their essence, because this life that they're living, it doesn't have that trajectory to remember. But that's one life. Maybe in 8 other parallel lives, they are awakened. They are sages. They are seekers. They are, leaders of the pack or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And in this life, they're not. We don't know. You barely understand what this one life contains for you. How can you be aware of other ones? But when you're in those deep trance states and you're in that human consciousness field, that's where the cross overlapping happens. And very much so, you're experiencing a scene where you don't recognize the people or the place, but you know it's you.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
how you're glimpsing into a parallel life. So it's
Yeah.
not about everything, But again, my personal opinion, and I come from a Greek Orthodox religion where this is all taboo, and even family won't even speak to me anymore because they think I'm a devil worshiper. That they have a prerogative. Absolutely, they can, because they're very much intertwined with the religion. But again, if you do your own research, go back to time. When the church was first created, they actually had a priest for the service, and they had a medium at the end. And the congregation would go late because they would rather listen to the medium bringing forth their loved ones than the priest. And they realized they're losing the flock, and they got rid of the medium, kept the priest, and then that wasn't enough. They had to ban the medium, say it was heretic, say it was devil worshiping, and start instilling the fear there, so they don't come back stronger later. So there's a lot of history that it's all in your scriptures, it's all everywhere, and that's what it is. But it's your belief, because it's your journey. And trust your journey, because it's already written, if you will. You see?
I believe in reincarnation, but the only thing that confuses me is more and more people are being born to the planet every year. We're over 8 billion now, right? So if we reincarnate, where are these new souls coming from? Are they just generated by God and meant to be here?
That's a great question. When we speak about reincarnation, we're basing that on the linear time that we are aware of.
Right.
So, 1825 is over and 2025 is here now. And it really doesn't when you do the math, it doesn't make sense, right? Also, if we believe in reincarnation, we have to believe in karma. And then they go hand in hand. And then that means that I'm going to get punished if I don't do well in this life. And I have to find salvation to go to heaven rather than hell. Again, all of this is the teachings from those organizations that see control. All of it. All of it. If you look at it in a different reality, if you look at it not basing it on the linear time frame as the law, there is no time. There's no concept of time. It's an illusion in order for you to stay on the trajectory of this one singular life that you're aware of. Okay, now, multiple possibilities here. Forget about different realities and different realms that also your essence is exploring. You may very well have an intergalactic parallel self in a different planet. You're unaware of that. Forget about the depth of how time is bent, if you will. Forget about the fact that even right now we see it as 2026, but it's also 1426, 1226, 1026, and we just don't know it. We can't see it. We're not aware of it. It overlaps consciousness. Forget about all that. Just go with your one trajectory. This one trajectory right now splits like the branches of a tree. If I made a decision, if I left somebody that I loved years ago, my trajectory changed. What if I didn't leave? And that trajectory is happening right now too. What if somebody I love dearly passed in this life, but in that one it didn't? Another avenue. So this one life, you have multiple avenues. Why is the population growing? Because more realities are popping in. Again, they're not new essences. They're just more parallel lives for each one. So if there was 4 billion at one point, now it's 8 billion at one point. Why does it have to be in our linear time only?
Right.
And they're being reborn. Maybe you're living in 100 different parallel lives. You could be a man in China or a man in India, and you have no clue. And when you do recognize that, the brief moment you're walking in an airport, you pass each other, it's just this glance of the eyes, and you just get chills all over your body, like, I know you. And there's no words
Yeah.
spoken. Just how
Yeah.
do you know that's not your essence in the parallel life?
Right.
See,
Right.
there's
No,
so
I get
many.
it. I get it that we try to make sense of this reality by using the construct of time.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I want to just make a quick note to James. We appreciate that you love the podcast, but he mentioned that keyboard sages take over the chat room with no evidence. I don't think it's strictly about evidence, James. It's about uh, you know, uh, ideas and thoughts and perspectives, right, Niko? I mean, we don't need an evidentiary someone making comments based on science. This is not science. This is consciousness and soul talk. So, I'm not quite sure I understand what James is saying, but I wanted to address it because I don't think this is the right place for evidence, so to speak.
I think what he's referring to, if I'm reading that correctly, is where's my proof about
Yeah.
parallel realities and split trajectories and what have you? James, that's actually been written about hundreds of years ago. I'm not the first to say it. I'm just one of the first to repeat it. So that's already
Right.
been questioned, and these are topics that they have a lot of books about. Google this if if you're interested in more. They've been speaking about it for hundreds of years with limited
Yeah.
language. So look at it this way: the oversoul, okay, another aspect of your essence in that architecture. This is a vast luminous sphere which holds every memory of every incarnation. It regulates and it creates all different parallel lives in your life right now. And it oversees. It does not at all interfere. What it does is it aligns, it watches, it assists. Where you might have somebody might have a difficulty in releasing pain, that helps another life with their pain. It's a regulator of all lives across time. Ralph Waldo Emerson coined the term oversoul in 1841.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is it not widespread yet after all this time has passed? 1841. So even when I'm talking about parallel lives and split trajectories, it's been written about hundreds of years ago, but it's still not widely spoken about. Why? Because fear controls the masses by those who seek control over and over and over.
Yeah.
So unless we find out what the root is, no one's going to evolve the way they should. But this grand awakening that's happening, this widespread awakening, that's not happening in this reality. That's coming from essence. A lot more are just awakening, a lot more coming in already connected. It's helping us evolve as a species for the next 50, 100 years. It won't be the way it is now.
Correct.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to touch upon for a minute, if you don't mind, the concept of daydreaming, because I always was concerned that I do it a lot. Like
that's perfect.
And it's like when I was in grammar school, I can't tell you how many times I got sent to the principal's office because they would catch me daydreaming out the window, and she would smack me with the ruler like several times.
Oh, you had those teachers? Did you have nuns with the rulers?
Nuns, yeah.
Private school, Catholic school. Good for you.
Oh yeah.
You were smoking in the stairwells, weren't you?
So true. But it concerned me because my grandparents were Greek Orthodox, and when they came here, they became Catholics. And of course, we had to go through the whole Catholic school thing. And it would, my parents were very concerned and they would ask me, like, why are you daydreaming all the time? And I would tell them, I don't know. And in which I didn't. It would just happen and it still does. Like I could be talking to someone and not that I want to be rude and or not listen to them, but all of a sudden I feel like I'm just astral projecting out somewhere, and then I come back. But why are we doing that? What is that all about?
That I wrote about that in my first book. We all enter that human consciousness field through the awareness. We all enter
Right.
trance states. Every time you're in, they call it the zone or the flow. When an artist, when Michael Jordan is in the zone, right? It's not that his body doesn't pay attention to what he's doing. It's just that his awareness supersedes the conscious thinking.
Right.
Right. When an artist gets lost in the drawing, or a musician is lost in their instrument, or a maestro hears and feels the music before it even comes out of his fingers and his hands, all these people, what's happening is that they've shifted from the conscious mind to the awareness, and that's where they're in that human consciousness field. They're just connected. You're always connected. Daydreaming is huge. I daydream most of my life as well. Same with me. I always get in trouble, always told to focus. Meanwhile, my grades were fine, but when the teacher was boring me, I would just zone off and I'd go there. What that is that, again, it's our ability. We all have the same ability, but certain people that are meant, projected on this journey to have these moments to reconnect and remember, it's like dormant memory codes are placed around the conscious. So you're daydreaming, a dormant memory code kicks in, a remembrance here, maybe a light, something else is happening. And you're meant to daydream more. You're meant to naturally explore that shift to awareness into that human consciousness field. So later on, when you really need it to continue your journey on a new road, it's not foreign to you. So when you daydream a lot, when you have these vivid dreams, when you feel like you lost time, you drove home on your regular familiar road, but you had no idea how to get there. When these are happening, everybody experiences it. But when it happens to you a little bit more than the other person, that's just an indication you're going to awaken faster than this other person. There's a reason why. So then that's our journey. Okay, now I understand this. What's my purpose? My purpose is, this is how I'm remembering the architecture. My purpose is to bring that architecture back into humanity's awareness.
That makes so much sense.
And that's why trance was my portal to get there. And then in trance, every time I'm in the trance state, I'm remembering more and more and more and more and more. And then seeds are planted, remnants of my mind. 4 a.m, I'll have a dream, more explanation. I have to write it down. Or I'm going somewhere, I'm driving. So it's constantly unfolding, where I might receive something 3 months ago, and now my human mind is making enough sense to make it eligible. I could write about it and teach about it. It's not going to be that quick, of a flip.
Yeah.
You're taking that oversoul wisdom and you're trying to make it into human intellect, and it takes time. That's why books take 5-6 months to write. But I know my purpose. That's what it is.
Sure.
Now, if you would have asked me 10 years ago, heck, I was a successful contractor in New York. I had money, a nice house, nice cars, vacations. Why the heck would I give that up?
Right.
to speak about architecture? This is crazy.
Yeah. It's your destiny. It was written in the code, for you to do this. And I want to comment on Carrie's statement. She says, nervous system response, talking about daydreaming, and a coping mechanism to this reality, aka you were bored in school. I don't think, like in my case, I wasn't bored. I was more I think for me, it was a trauma response, because it was such an unpleasant situation being in that school with those hateful nuns, that I would use any opportunity to leave. And that's how I felt. Like I would use even in second grade, I remember just wanting to be out of there. And I think that some of us may daydream for that reason as well, because it just helps us get out of the situation, I would imagine.
Notice that every time there's a traumatic moment, every time the evil nuns. Every time there's something so difficult, it's like back on autopilot.
Yeah.
That's your essence. You know, it's not you. You're not the one creating the daydreaming. This is your higher self pulling you out, pulling you to awareness through daydreaming. Right? When you lose somebody or you go through a difficult heartbreak and you're painful and you're at the end of your rope and people even contemplate suicide, notice you
Right.
always sense a presence near you. You always see a
Yes.
presence near you. You don't know what that is. You know who it is. You go, it's God. That's the perceiver. Another part of the architecture, the witness, the watcher,
Yes.
also you. So there's when you understand the architecture, every single thing makes sense that you've gone through. And you realize, oh wow, I thought I was daydreaming to get out of a situation I hated. That wasn't you, because your identity is too busy engaged in this experience
I
to live it as real. Right? That's why you never rely on the identity as a journey. Understand there's more parts of your essence guiding and helping you and assisting you and pulling you out when it's difficult, putting you back with more love when it's not. It's an entire
yeah.
architecture, a structure that's built for every single incarnation.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And again, James, I think you're missing the mark here, if you don't mind me saying. He said it feels like most are bipolar than spiritual. And I'm not picking on James, trust me, but I like diverse thought, and I like to
It's
to
fine.
tackle things. Yeah, I mean, I like to tackle, things that may not align with my belief system. And spirituality is not a mental disorder. You take it from there, Nico.
No, of course not. Of course not. Listen, guys,
Big-
again, as I mentioned earlier, um, we can't judge anybody. We can't frown upon them. Again,
Exactly.
most of my family and friends won't even speak to me. They think something's wrong with me. I've changed. I'm off the deep end. I should be committed. They think whatever they want to think. I still love them because
Of course.
they were still integral for a majority of my physical life.
Of course.
So I couldn't have gone through those experiences without them, or learn what I had to learn without them in order to get here. So we can never fault anybody. Again, if you look at it as a spiritual soul to soul covenant, soul to soul agreement, what I learned from them is vital. But even now, with me detached from them, they're learning. Maybe
Yeah,
that's the other side of the agreement. You see, so it's not
absolutely.
always about good stuff. And again, like I said, not everybody is meant to receive their remembrance, their clarity at higher levels. They're going to get a
Yeah,
couple of hits here and there, but maybe it's not meant for them because this life that they know, the trajectory is focused on
exactly.
only one. How much of the human experience can I integrate? How much pain can I handle? How much stress? How much
Right.
betrayal? Or how much can I give out pain, betrayal, hatred? You see, even those who people don't like and they're speaking about them, ruining the government, ruining the states, and whatever the case is, notice that's not accidental, that's intentional.
Absolutely.
Because even that power, notice the ripple effect of consciousness awareness going
Yeah,
all around the planet, not just the states. So we see it limited with a limited lens as a human identity. What an idiot! We got to get him out. Got to kill him. But from
yeah,
a
yeah.
spiritual side, you realize he's living his life exactly as it was intended,
Right.
not to be the bad guy, but because his power is creating this spread of awareness. Look at the overall picture. If it's not for these kind of leaders, we still be very stagnant with our awareness expanding. So we have
Yeah.
to be grateful rather than hating. But that's his
Yeah,
journey. You think he's gonna have a spirit of
absolutely.
enlightenment? Probably never will have a spirit of enlightenment, but he's doing what he's meant to do.
Exactly. 1,000%. And I see what the events of 2020 as horrific as they were and are essential to our spiritual awakening, because look at what it's done to the globe after
Yeah,
the amount of people waking up is astronomical.
yeah. You're speaking about COVID.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you,
If it wasn't
James.
for
I know.
COVID, would we have Zoom and all these circles that sprouted out of
Absolutely.
nowhere?
Absolutely.
Massive
Yeah. Yeah.
changes,
Yeah.
right?
Massive changes. And our consciousness, I believe, from that event and the past 5 years has been lifted. So many people are now, and like you said before, it's all intentional. It was meant to be. It's part of our soul contract, I guess. The the
Yes,
the humans on
100%.
this planet. Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
it's a lot deeper. You know, it's like really difficult mathematical equations. You're not gonna get them in elementary school, but they exist. You see, even when you are, you know, a physicist or even Einstein or who can solve these, there's still going to be other problems they have difficulty solving. That's the same way when you start trying to unravel purpose, why we're here. Again, you're viewing it from the conditioned mind. You feel it differently as your essence. Your conditioned mind is part of one transient journey, one transient life.
Yeah.
Your essence is eternal, multiple lives lived, right? You feel more so than you think. Your intuition
Ah,
is always stronger than your thinking pattern, but you always
yeah.
go to the thought more than the intuition. Why? The intuition is more powerful, yet we have difficulty trusting it. Again, that's part of the human journey.
Yep.
You have to have the veil of forgetfulness, if you will, in order to believe you're human, in order to be deeply grounded in the human experience. Without it, why would we even come here?
Yeah. That's
Right?
so true.
If we knew we're essence, if we knew that we had these beautiful contracts, you'd also know the contracts you have that are going to cause pain on you. You would skirt around. You'd be super cautious.
That's
Like
right.
you tell the child, don't go near the stove, you're going to burn yourself. You ever see the child walk very cautiously, tiptoeing, going around the stove, terrified?
Absolutely.
You'd be living your life that way if you knew what was happening, what was next.
Absolutely. Yeah. Um, as far as trance mediumship goes, we've had like an insurgence on the internet of folks like Bashir, for example. He made that kind of popular in culture, trance mediumship. And if you listen to some of the things he says, they all make sense and are eloquently spoken. Um, what's your take on being able to trust folks like Bashir? I mean, Edgar Casey too was a trance medium. There were so many. The Hicks, Esther Hicks. I mean, there were so many, right?
Yeah. Because I teach trance as well, beginners, intermediate, and advanced, I study the student and I could study how far they allow their awareness to shift to consciousness. I could see when they're in the light trance state and they're very much connected to the human identity. And that is what I refer to as channeling. Even though in
Mm,
America, channeling is considered trance, and in the UK, trance is trance. I like to differentiate it, whether I call that channeling, the light trance state, which is a lot of inspirational speaking. You could do that if you're focused on the trance state or not. If somebody is grieving next to you, a friend, a loved one, whatever, notice how you just have the right things to say at the right time.
yeah.
And like, oh my God, you saved me. You're just like, how did I even think of that? I didn't even know I could say that. That was so eloquent to me. That's inspirational speaking. We always have that connection because we always have the awareness still
That makes so much sense.
connected higher self, human conscious field is still like the triangle, the connection. You always have that. So you always are offering inspirational speaking even when you think you're not. So a lot of trance mediums, what they do is they kind of just go into this altered state, but they remain at that light trance state where it's very much inspirational speaking and still their personality and their human identity. Again, I don't fault anybody. I think it's fantastic because it's still connecting with spirit and they're still offering the vessel of the human body to bring those words and the guidance into this world. I don't look at people and judge who's in deeper trance states and who's not. To me, it makes no difference. To me, I'm
Right.
glad that there's an insurgence of trance mediums out there. I did see a few years ago, that there were a lot of imposters that I was
Yeah.
just starting to get into. Like, this is not even really
Yeah.
trans. What are
You
they
gotta be
doing
careful.
on TikTok, on YouTube,
Yeah.
whatever? I let that go, because at one point I did a few years back, I resented it. Like, I valued this collaboration as sacred, because it is sacred. And I'm like, they're
Yeah.
making a mockery of it. And I was upset. And in the trance state that I was offering a transmission, I could feel and sense what I needed to hear or to receive. Like, don't judge them. Because even a fraud is still bringing awareness to trance.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that's what you want. You want it to become mainstream. You want the world to accept it. You want more to pop up all over the world. That's how spirit comes through audibly, naturally, and intimately through trance. So you want more.
What are the
You see,
benefits of learning how to, like, you obviously teach these classes. What do your students get out of learning how to trance? Like, what's the main benefit for them?
it's funny, because it's not what they're going to benefit through the trance state and through that connection with spirit. It's how they're going to benefit by recognizing how they can truly soften the human identity.
Mm,
So benefiting it as a human is, your life is not as overwhelming as you thought it was. Not
that's a
every
big
decision.
benefit.
I
Yeah,
know. Not every decision is life threatening. Not every relationship is poison. Not every relationship turns to heartache. You can be loved. Can love
absolutely.
unconditionally. That's softening the human identity, and that's the most profound transformation that trance has to offer you as the
That's
human.
brilliant. That's
Yeah, with the
brilliant
human
right there.
life. Now, on the other end of it,
Oh, I think Ningo froze for a second. We'll give him a second to unfreeze. Can you guys still see me in the chat? If somebody could
there you
just,
go.
oh, there
Now
you
I see
go.
you.
There you go.
Did I lose you guys?
Yeah, you froze for just 3 seconds. You're good.
Okay. On the other end is where no words can describe what that's like. Imagine a family reunion and 100 of your favorite family members, not the ones you don't really care for. 100 family and friends, the ones that you truly love with all your heart. And imagine you're the center of attention, and they're all around you, and they're all hugging you, and they're all loving you unconditionally. They
Nice.
see you for who you are. No flaws, no nothing, just pure love. That's trance.
That sounds like a wonderful thing to experience. And basically what you said before about becoming softer and non-reactive and
Yeah,
knowing that love and all of the beautiful qualities of humanness are there for all of us to experience, that everything is not negative and hateful and nasty, even though we live in challenging times, right, Niko?
absolutely, absolutely. Because then again, when you soften the human identity, you realize they're not challenging times; they're transformative times.
Right.
Right?
Absolutely.
Go back. Just go back. Every couple of 100 years, there were challenging times to them.
Oh,
But look at the progress.
throughout
We're just
history.
in. Exactly. And we're just experiencing another transformative part of humanity. But this time,
Absolutely.
there's more awakening happening.
Yes.
Doesn't change, it's just added. And our vocabulary is expansive, our understanding is clearer, not like it was hundreds of years ago. So this is instead of viewing it as what a terrible time to live in, view it what an incredible time to live in. We're here to really make a difference. We're here
Absolutely.
to, whatever we're saying, whatever we're writing, whatever we're teaching, whatever we stand for is going to outlive all of us for new generations.
That's right. That's such
You
a
see,
great
so
point.
yeah, we have pivotal roles. Your broadcast is incredible because you're touching so many, and then
Yes.
as you touch them, they're gonna paraphrase it
Exactly.
to their family and friends, the younger generations. So even
Yeah.
they're gonna your programs gonna outlive even you. You're serving a
Absolutely.
vital role. You see, it's beautiful.
And the comments I get sometimes, like on YouTube and other platforms, sometimes I sit here and I never, and I try not to use the words never and always. Let's put it this way. I very rarely ever get a negative comment. Usually they're filled with gratitude and appreciation and thanks. Thanks so much for this podcast. It changed my perception. And, when I get comments like that, I just sit here in gratitude and I
Yeah.
just thank God. I'm just so grateful that I'm able to participate in it, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. I mean, even when I offer trans demonstrations, the majority will believe it's spirit, but then you'll have every few months you'll have a naysayer saying, "Oh, he's phony, he's a fake," whatever the case is,
Right.
and that's fantastic because they just come from a lot of phony
Exactly.
views that they think everybody's phony. But I always tell people, especially with trance, if you could feel the presence of spirit, if you could feel the energy, if you could feel the
Yes.
love, then
Yes.
that trance medium truly connected, because what you're sensing is that spirit energy
Yeah.
connecting with a medium, and it just spreads. You're in the
Yes.
Zoom room, it could be you right next to the person. It makes
Yeah.
there's no time, there's no space, it's instantaneous. So if you could
It's beautiful.
feel presence, then that trance was deep and it was very powerful and sacred.
Now I want to talk to you about hopefully we can get you to transfer if you feel like it. We have
Yeah,
we have plenty of time, but I before we do that, I want to talk to you about the contact experience and the ET connection to
yeah,
all of this because we're seeing so many videos of orbs and people
yeah.
connected with ET. And like as much as I try, I go outside and they say you can use psionics to connect to them. And like I'll go outside and say, hey, I'm ready to see you,
Yeah,
I'm ready to
that
connect.
it doesn't
And I
happen
get
that way.
crickets. I get
Yeah,
crickets. So
yeah.
what can we
I
do?
I wrote about that in my third book, actually.
Oh,
I don't.
wonderful.
Yeah, I don't believe it's again. Let's just say you said there's 8 billion people in this planet, right? Maybe there's only 1 billion another on another planet.
Yeah.
I'm saying it doesn't matter about the physical forms; it's still the essence. It's still a connection through consciousness,
Right.
right? I don't believe that there are ETs living as humans. I don't buy that for a second. Human
Mm,
is human, ET is ET. I
yeah.
do understand cross consciousness, 100% right, absolutely. What I also believe, and I wrote about that, is for the majority, I think, when these intergalactic beings will visit and will communicate with us, it's
Yeah.
consciousness to consciousness. That means that would be your parallel version as an intergalactic being connecting with you through consciousness as an earthling. You're not going to just get a visit from, you know, any
Yeah.
ET like in the movie ET with Steven Spielberg. I don't believe that happens. I think there's a lot more precision with it. Otherwise, if we're going to have a whole bunch of alien races on this
Yeah.
planet, humanity's going to fumble and fall. If
Yeah.
they fear themselves and their own essence, imagine the level of fear they're going to have towards intergalactic beings.
Oh, God, yeah. Have you connected to ET? Like, what is that like for you?
Yeah, it's powerful energy. Again, my intergalactic being is my parallel self. That absolutely I have, because that's a lot of information I received also. Now that version of me and that reality, it doesn't have forgetfulness to deal with like I do in this life. So that reality, that essence, brings a lot of information, a lot of insight in dreams, a lot of daydreaming, a lot of knowing that happens from there. You mentioned before, I meant to continue, I forgot. It's not reincarnation as one life, it's reincarnation of a series of lives. So there's multiple lives happening in different realities, different timelines. That's all orchestrated intentionally. Because if you were a soul wanting to explore and evolve, why, and there was no time and you had the ability to create more than one lives, why would you set up for one life? You wouldn't. You put many. So the same thing's happening. When every one of these lifetimes reaches the pinnacle of their trajectory and those lives are over, the whole line is wiped out. That's why there's no certain age you die. They all wipe out. They all wipe out. Then the evolution, the expansion occurs.
Yeah.
The older soul integrates everything, and then a new line comes in. That's why the auric field is still present in this reality, even though the human consciousness, the inner layer, leaves with the awareness. The auric field is still present, and there's remnants in that of your essence, and that's how evidential mediums connect to those auric fields. That's also how you see orbs and apparitions through the same auric fields in this reality. When it comes to galactic presences, that's totally different.
Yeah.
And I believe they are going to come, but the more people understand consciousness and conscious connection, because in that connection, that's where telepathy occurs. So you're receiving telepathic insight, thoughts through not only your higher self, but also that galactic counterpart. You're receiving it. You're receiving telepathy. We do not possess telepathic communication human to human. It's essence to essence through consciousness.
Well, Mort had asked what psionics are, and it's become a thing more so in the past 2 years since congressional hearings happened. And just for clarification, psionics refers to the study and application of psychic phenomenon such as telepathy, telekinesis, often depicted as mental abilities. And what they do, Mort, is they use them to contact ET. So basically, that's what psionics is, and it's become they have groups that go out into the night and look at the night sky, and they use psionics to connect to ET. And that's what I was asking you about, Niko. Why is it that some people can go outside and say, okay, I want to see an orb, and then orbs appear and they go power up and you see the thing expanding? And why is it that some of us can connect to that and some can't? What's going on there?
Again, the way I'm looking at it is not all altered states are the same, right? The difference isn't the experience, it's whether the person remains oriented, grounded, and functional. It just how you're approaching it. And is it meant to be on your journey? Is that what you're supposed to experience? There's a lot of tangibles here. You're asking a vague question.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different avenues.
I guess it's just that orbs have become such a 2020 thing, and moving forward. And that's all I see all over is people taking videos of these orbs that in the night sky. Hi, Mish. So good to see you, sweetie. And I just can't help but wonder what it is about some people that can connect to it and call them at will. So whether these orbs are angelic beings or ET, I have no idea what they are.
Again, it's perception.
Yeah.
It's perception. You see?
Yeah.
It's also how the human mind is perceiving it.
Oh, I see.
It's not always a reality. It's what they perceive, what they claim they saw, what they believe they saw, what they're sure it is. It's everybody's experience. You know, an orb, an apparition is not necessarily an intergalactic being. It's not a UFO in the sky. You see?
Right.
It's an orb. It could be I see orbs all the time. All the time.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, daytime, nighttime. I'll always see little things. Take a photo. It's in my photo. It's all the time. Again, I don't look at it like, oh, I should really focus on this. It's awareness expanding. I don't worry on the why I experienced it. I'm just grateful that I did.
Oh, I see. Bonsoir, Libercast. So good to see you, dear friend.
When they had
Yeah, I
the
see.
line, was it the Lionsgate portal 2 years ago? Is that what that
Yeah,
was
that's
again?
right. Lionsgate Portal. Yep.
You know how many times I saw it out of nowhere in the night sky, day and night, a white, very dense arc forming, almost a full circle, but it never made a full circle out of nowhere. Like a flash of
Yeah.
light. I looked up and I saw this thing actually moving around. I thought it was like the plane that leave the trail, but it wasn't. It was too perfectly symmetried. I saw that like 3, 4 times in a matter of a week when that Lions
And
portal
what
game was.
was that,
I have
Niko?
no
What was it?
clue. I have no clue. It must be a portal to another
Oh,
dimension, right? But it didn't form anything past it. My human intellect said, wow, that's definitely going to be a portal going on. It never manifested. I saw it. It's fine. I experienced it. I don't get caught up on what's the answer. If I experienced it now, let it integrate, let it settle. I might need it later on in my future.
that's such a great point because we often ruin the experience by
Yes.
trying to find
Yeah.
the who, what, and where of it.
Yeah. And also, you said that you try too hard. You go out there, I'm ready. When you
Yeah.
try, you distort because it's a human identity still trying.
Yeah.
Let it go. If the way I look at it is two ways. Either if it's meant to happen, you're resonating with it. You're resonating with it because it's going to happen, and you're ready. You're in a premonition. If it's not going to happen in this trajectory of this life, and you're still longing for it, that's because you're cross overlapping consciousness to what's already occurring. So your longing for it is that you're starting to sense you as an intergalactic being in another reality. So rather than wanting it here, sit with the longing, saying, okay, you know what? I'm not going to look anymore. If you want to contact with me, if you want to, I'm fine. I'm open to it. And then just wait, be patient, stop looking for it. And
I
that's when
love that.
you start feeling more, you start recognizing more. Trust me,
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I wanted to get abducted, but that's not going to happen. But that was my human identity. And when I stopped looking for it, when I stopped questioning
Yeah.
it, that's another avenue trance brings in, because you're so deep in that consciousness field that's overlapping to all. And that's when I was overlapping with my intergalactic self constantly. I even saw other trance mediums I don't even know in this deep trance state, cross overlapping of consciousness. I'm like, wait a minute, they're not in my line. Why am I crossed with them? And I always felt my intergalactic guide as the chain to all of them.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote about in my third book. Amazing. This is not, I didn't learn this in college. I'm learning it in trance. It's amazing.
That's right. Now, tell us who you connect to during trance, because for folks that didn't watch our first podcast, kind of talk to us about your trance experience and how that came about.
Oh, well, that's two different questions, actually. The ones that are with me now, they're a collective from the celestial realm, and they go by the name of Noah, a collective name of Noah. These are the first beings or silhouettes that I actually saw when I was like 6 or 7 years old. That was my first introduction to essence, and I felt their energetic vibration since. And that kind of got me through a lot of my difficult times. It actually freaked me out more than it should have at other times. It just, again, no vocabulary for it, no understanding, trying to integrate it as a human through that conditioned mind, very, very difficult. And then when I started doing trance, I was already an evidential medium. I was already a Reiki healer. I was past life regressions. I would offer those a lot. Angel Oracle cards. I did a lot of other modalities. Again, in the back of my mind, trance is dangerous. Don't go near it. Conditioned mind. That's what I thought too. When I did finally enter a trance circle and give trance a shot, it terrified me because I'm very sensitive to energy. And I figured, okay, I'm an evidential medium. I'm not afraid of spirit. This would be a walk in the park. But that energy came so fast. I was making silent deals with God. I was terrified. Now, looking back, again, like I mentioned earlier, my conscious mind had no idea what that was. It doesn't
Yeah.
understand energy or emotion. So it went back into the stored information in my subconscious mind and pulled out fear, movies, books, anything to do with possession or whatever. And it freaked me out because the body, the nervous system responds to what the brain is projecting, and that got me scared. So it took me about 3 months to get back on the saddle, and I was fine after that. So I've had different guides come through trance, and each one served the purpose to either elevate my frequency, to stabilize my field, to soften the human identity, to treat it as sacred. Every one of them was vital for my evolution to accept more. And that's when this team comes in, Noah, and that's who it is. And it's just, again, it's the human consciousness field. Another way to look at trance, all essences are connected in the human conscious field from the auric field we said earlier, right? You with this body and the higher self merge in the awareness. Trance is when that spirit guide or guides enter through the human consciousness field and merge in the awareness with you and the higher self. So the container is your higher self, is the gatekeeper, and you're the gatekeeper here. No essences come in unless the higher self approves it. That's what it feels like. It feels like a blending of awareness where I become one with their personality, their essence, and everything else. I'm no longer aware of my body or my room or my breath, and they utilize my breath to speak the same way I utilize my breath to speak. My breath being my essence anchored into this body. So the same formula, just that they blend, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
It is a soul trap, in your opinion? What's a soul trap?
I guess he's talking about James' question for those that are listening. He asked Niko, is it a soul trap in your opinion? You talking about trance, James? Are you talking about that? If you are, just let us know. I mean, I don't think it's a soul trap. I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to.
It's not a soul trap. If anything, it's a soul expansion.
Exactly. I'm just trying to see some of these other comments.
Hey, Sherry. Yeah, I remember Sherry. Yeah, how you doing? Andy,
I love folks in the chat. They're so cool.
The what?
So I said the folks in the chat are always so cool. And if you guys have any questions, make sure that you pop them in there because I'll store them and make sure that we ask Niko. What's the most profound thing you ever learned during a trance from Noah? Can you pick like one or two things?
Oh God, so many. You know what I was just thinking? My opinion, you should schedule us another time, but only Noah.
Oh, that would be awesome.
So we're not rushing through it today. You should just have Noah. They could ask all the questions. You could just connect and then have.
I would love that.
Absolutely do that. Absolutely do that.
Yeah, because to do it like in 20 minutes is ridiculous, right? It's not enough time.
It's gonna definitely go more than 20 minutes because once it starts, everyone's gonna ask questions. You're gonna have a bunch of questions, and it'll go another hour.
Are you free on Wednesdays?
I don't mind.
No, I know you don't. But is Wednesday a bad day for you or a good day?
No, Tuesdays and Wednesdays are good.
All right, because I'm going to send you via email Wednesday, the 18th of February. I have that open, and I would love to just do a Noah trance. It'll be at 4:10. All right, good, Niko. We'll do that because I think that would be such a blast to be able to. Yeah.
Oh crap.
Oh, no good. Oh, is that Valentine's Day?
No, but my daughter is actually visiting.
Okay, so what?
She's going to be in Athens. I'm going to meet her in Athens. I'm going to come back on the 19th on Thursday. That's the only Wednesday I'm not going to be around.
All right, then the next Wednesday.
Yeah, 25th is fine.
I got somebody on the 25th already. You know what I'll do? I'll email you some. I have March 25th open. Would you take that?
Yeah.
All right, Niko. I just booked you in. So
that's Greek Independence Day.
Is that okay?
That's Greek Independence Day. Yeah, you're Greek.
Greek
Same,
Independence Day.
yeah, right. Same time.
No,
Same.
it's going to be 4:10.
Okay.
What's today? No, yeah, it'll be 4:10. 4
Okay.
o'clock. We start at 4:10
Okay.
on
Okay.
Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday hump day. Yep. That'll be brilliant. We'll have a lot of fun doing that. I'll send you an email too, just as a
Yeah. Okay.
reminder as well.
So,
Yeah.
you asked me what was the most profound thing I've learned through
Yeah.
Noah.
Yeah.
So, it's not. I'm not going to say it's what I learned, but more so what I remember.
Oh,
It's
wow.
because of Noah and that energy. Like again, the beginning guides was more remembering the connection with them. Okay, in other words, lives I spent with them. My healing guide is a real love interest.
Oh,
Very
wow.
powerful love in multiple realities, multiple lives. That's the healing guide that comes through. She's a protector of my heart. She said, beautiful. And I remembered her too, which is even amazing.
Oh, wow.
Noah, if there's a celestial realm, I don't want to go too far because I don't want to confuse people. But if you have the creator and then you have the infinite field of consciousness, right? And from the creator, we all were created from the creator as an expression of self, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the origin you.
Okay.
Name it the perceiver. So the perceiver is your origin essence, still resides in this infinite field of consciousness. Within the same exact field of consciousness, you have celestial realm angels, you have guides. They're also perceiver led, perceivers. They're all perceivers, right?
Okay.
Your perceiver wanted to experience incarnation to express itself through perception, through the life.
Gotcha.
And that's how the architecture was formed. The perceiver created the oversoul creates the higher self, the human self, to the body, the human identity. All this is one architecture for one life, and there's multiple. The oversoul is the same. The higher self governs many, but different human selves with each incarnation. Angels and guides are also perceiver based, but they do not incarnate.
Ah.
Then you have field level origin, which is animals, animal energy, plant, environmental, planetary, elemental. That's all different consciousness, not the same structure as we do. So what I learned or remembered was that, because I remember as a human, I'm like, how the heck do I have archangels as my guides? What kind of soul agreement is that? How do I know them? Again, from the human point of view. I've also had Jesus come through me, Virgin Mary come through me, other people.
Nice.
It was beautiful, extremely powerful energy.
Yeah.
Then what I remembered was that's how, through Noah, my remembrance elevated to the infinite field of consciousness.
Yeah.
That's how I remember the perceiver as me. You see, up until then, I understood my higher self, because the way I explain this to people is that more than not, a deep loss of someone you love will make you pause and look into the spirit realm as an option, because you realize that those in this life, the humans, they're not giving you enough comfort for you to elevate from your own grief. Yeah. So a lot of them look into the spirit realm. Can I connect with my loved one? Are they okay? Are they with me? That kind of stuff, which is great. That's exactly why those loved ones stick around as your guides to help you open that first door, if you will.
Yeah.
Then once you feel the familiarity, the comfort of that, your loved ones then take you to the next doorway, which is your spirit guides, which is also amazing love connections of other times you don't remember.
Yeah.
They help you relax enough and trust enough to open the next door, and you connect to your higher self. That's where a lot of mediumship ends. And that's where my guides taught me to get further, further, further. My cousin, who passed when we were 19, he was the first doorway, the first portal. Then I got my spirit guides. All of those came in and helped me get to my higher self. The higher self then opened up the doorway for Noah to come through. Noah got me to my oversoul. And then Noah finally got me to the perceiver, to the infinite field of consciousness. And that's where the most remembrance occurred. And that's why I'm most grateful to them.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's so interesting. I've learned to distinguish between, and I'm using human words to describe it because I don't sometimes have language for what I feel, but I'm going to say between like positive thoughts and negative thoughts. And I've learned to be very clear on intrusive thoughts that are not mine,
Yeah.
and angelic thoughts from like my consciousness, or maybe they are my consciousness speaking to me. So like for instance, I'll not hear a voice like schizophrenia, but in my spirit I'll hear a statement, and I'll actually answer it and say, yes, you're exactly correct, depending on what it is. And then if I get a negative, like and I call it demonic, like a demonic voice, I just say, devil, get behind me, like F off, and it goes away. Because where are these negative voices coming from? I know they're not mine. I know they're not coming from me. Is it my ego that's doing this shit? Like, what is it?
It's the conditioned mind. Remember that conditioned mind, the ego doesn't want to lose control. It likes to be in control. That's the conditioned mind. That's the human conscious mind. Remember, let's make this easy. Conscious mind is 15% the left side mind. Intuitive mind is 85% the right side mind. That intuitive mind is where spirit is always connecting. That's where your higher self is delivering clear guidance through insight. That's when you feel angelic or loving, and whatever the case is, and it's there. It feels like a thought just arrived, and it feels very, very powerful. That's the intuitive mind bringing in, again, telepathically from your higher self into the intuitive mind. And the moment your mind relaxes enough, whoop, it slips right in. So your conscious mind now understands it. Once that happens, remember, the conscious mind has no idea where this came from. It has to label it. It has to accept it and label it. It's not going to accept it because it didn't create it. So again, it's going to go back into the subconscious mind, pull out whatever scared you, devil sound, this and that. Okay, let's attach this to freak you out so you can close the door and not receive.
Why?
Control. It wants control. That's the human identity. That's how we were conditioned to believe. That goes back to your journey. Your journey. No, it's exactly what it is. Your Catholic school upbringing, the devil, powerful, could possess you, this and this. It's in your subconscious. It's going to come out. It's not real. It's your conditioned mind based on your human experiences in this life. All you. That's your mind kicking in what you've stored unknowingly, bringing it to the forefront so it could battle good versus evil, God versus devil. That's the power of religion and the fear instilled in you and the masses. That's all it is.
So you don't believe there are any evil entities trying to No,
it's impossible. Because if you understand the architecture, again, we all come from the same architecture. So we all come from the same infinite field of the consciousness, which is pure love, which is where the creator is. All of us, every single one of us. What you are as a human, what your trajectory dictates for your mind to be conditioned to believe, has nothing to do with your essence.
How do you explain paranormal activity? And there's plenty of it on video, chairs moving, people getting possessed. Is this all self-induced stuff? Like,
I would have bought that in my second book. You got it in my books.
I know. I gotta get them.
It's the environment. It's the field. Okay, I wrote about the EVP machines. I wrote about ectoplasm. I wrote about dubbing. I wrote about all that stuff. It's in my third book, actually. It's still communication. Well, in both, actually. Dubbing is the second. All of this is in the third. It's all how spirit communicates. This is the phenomena, the table wrapping, the whatever they had 100 years ago was, wow, this is crazy. Notice how even 100 years ago, the phenomena were so powerful and so bizarre, and now they're much more internal. Notice how it's shifted in 100 years.
Yeah.
And another 100 years, and be all internal. Okay, but they use the energy fields. They use the energy field. The only one that's different is the ectoplasm, where they're using the medium's energy field. And if that's not a very intimate and safe and trusting relationship, the medium can lose energy and faint, pass out, even die.
Oh, geez.
Because you're sharing the same exact field of energy. That's ectoplasm. That's dangerous and it's difficult. But then again, true physical mediumship, when that happens, it's like a 20-year, at least 20-year relationship with you, the medium, and that spirit entity. 20 years. It's not just like 6 months. And that's why even physical mediumship online, it's not the way it used to be, because you don't have that 20-year container. Not that they're frauds, I'm not saying that, but that's why you really feel that, and even the people that are around you in that circle, they're with you for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's a closed circle that builds, because that time frame in our realm gives the medium and that spirit, that container, to mesh perfectly in for that to happen.
Wow.
Okay, but anything caught on the machines that capture spirit's voice, it's a machine. That's why it sounds distorted.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not made of our human vocal cords. Okay, when you see a projection of spirit, like a hologram, again, they use the energy within the environment. It's real. That's what I told you about earlier. That's why the auric field still remains. Those are the remnants of the auric field, which allows this to happen.
I see what you're saying. So people are tapping into that and using that to project all this stuff, basically, right?
Yeah, because it's not, they're tapping into it. No vocabulary, no understanding, only what the conditioned mind, what the religions teach. Oh, that's devil stuff. Get out of here.
Yeah.
It's The Exorcist. Oh, possession.
Yeah,
Because even when those movies were made, think about it. There still was no vocabulary. There was no understanding. So of course they were made from the conditioned human mind and their belief. Of course it was, but it's not real. If you really look back and do your research, you understand what this is all about.
You know what? It's maybe we can pick this up like during our next chat, because and I'm going to read your books, but between now and then. But it's so interesting because you've got the Catholic Church doing exorcisms and stuff like that.
I know.
And it's so ingrained in culture to believe that these things are real and they exist. So we're going to pick up on that. But I want to spend the next few minutes giving you a shout out. You've got a beautiful website. People work very hard on their websites, and I always like to give them a shout out. So, let's look under your services here, Niko. So you've got, and I don't know what this translates to US dollars.
That's euro.
That's euro. Okay.
Yes, a euro. I live in Greece. That's like, $107.
Yeah, it's a few bucks. Yeah, it's a few bucks more. Yep. So you teach, obviously, trance mediumship.
Yeah, these are services. They could book their own private one-to-one and speak with Noah, have a direct conversation. You get it recorded, you can ask questions, you can do whatever you want. And that's the evidential mediumship, where I connect to your loved one, bring in that information, and they speak through me to you directly. So these are all services.
Your prices are very reasonable considering what some of the other people that I've run across charge. So
I never wanted thank you. I never wanted the finances to be my motivating factor. That's why I live month to month. And that's why I joked before when I said I left a life of stability, financial stability, to live month to month. You think I went insane overnight. But it's okay. You know what? I'm happier now than I ever was in my life, and it's not about the money. I'm not on the streets, and even if I am homeless, I'm gonna live on the beach in Greece. What a great place to be homeless. Who cares? I would either way. But I live month to month, and I'm totally fine.
I love your energy. I love what you teach. And obviously that's why I'll have you back time after time, because you're so genuine to me. And, and that's what I go by. That's my intuition telling me that it speaks the truth. So I love your work. Now, you also have
Thank you, Cal.
past life regressions, you do Reiki healings, you've got spiritual development sessions. That looks really awesome. And then
Yeah.
you do some tarot or angel oracle card readings as well.
Yeah, I don't really do them as much, and a lot of people, maybe I get one person a year that asks for that, because a lot of times they want the card reading, and I'm not knocking it, but
Yeah.
again, I also teach 5 courses. The other page that says the courses, I have 3 trance levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced. I have an evidential mediumship course, which takes away all the learning with symbols and colors. I just think that it confuses people rather than getting to the core of it. I offer other trance style courses like cosmic trance and healing trance every quarter. And I have a 10-month mentorship program, which is one Saturday month for 4 hours. That's really in-depth teaching, in-depth. And I'm going to have a retreat on the beautiful Greek island in June.
Oh, nice. That'll be nice.
And I'm going to have a 4-day mini retreat in New York and Chicago, possibly after Easter in April.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We'll have to plan a meeting because I'm not far from you also have a free course. Yeah, I'd love that. You also have a free course too, and I don't want to shut the page down without.
I have free weekly circles.
There you go.
Every Wednesday is trance development, all levels welcome. We just teach you how to connect, and there's no pressure on any of these. Every Thursday is evidential. Yeah, it's on the course. Is this right? It's evidential mediumship. Keep going down.
Right there. There we go.
It's evidential mediumship developmental. Again, all levels welcome. And then on Sunday, I started this open talk. I threw in a question like, why now? And then we just talk for an hour, and it's really a lot of fun. Everyone's different perspective, and then I throw in the viewpoint from the spirit, concept, spirituality, and it comes to be a very funny afternoon. So those are for free, and if you click on that button right there, it says join. That one, it goes right to the Zoom.
Right very there. Nice.
Just click on the time. Click on that. I can't make it any easier for you guys.
Oh, you guys got to be kidding me if you don't take advantage of that. Who gives away free stuff? Nobody except Niko.
I even had a course that I offered them 1 year free question and answers. So once a month, it's like 3 hours. They ask me questions. I answer them, and then I go into trance, and Noah answers their questions. So it's about a 3-hour thing.
You are so based. You're just the base of based. You're awesome, Niko. Thank you so much for today, and I'm so excited to have you back. If I get a cancellation earlier than that, I'm going to email you, and maybe you'll be free. Because I would love to have Noah here. That's going to be so much fun. And I know you're going to go to bed now because it's got to be 2 o'clock, close to 2. Oh my goodness.
But it's okay. I'm not really tired yet. I'll probably be up for another hour. It's fine.
Oh, all right. I'm going to email you. And I'm gonna make sure I get your books and make sure I read them. So check out Niko's website. Take advantage of his free. At least start with his free courses. I love when you guys offer free stuff, and not many people do. So kudos to you, Niko. Absolutely. That's
and even on the website too. They have a link to the books.
I was going to ask you that. I saw that. That's under courses too, isn't it?
No, it's on the first page.
On the first page, it says link to books. Okay.
Yep. And all the social media stuff is on the first page and the last page. But right away, the books. I would say, pick up a book. What is it? $20.
Not bad at all.
Movies are more expensive these days, and the book will really be transformative.
Yeah.
The first book I wrote was more about dispelling all these. We spoke about reincarnation, karma, this and that.
Yeah.
I wrote about that in depth, and a lot of that has to go back to history, to poets, to scientists, everything. I use everything in that book. I use references. So
Nice.
everything goes back to what's already been written. It's not just my words. The second book is
Yeah.
more about trance. That was the quickest book I wrote because only 1/3 of the book was a collaboration about understanding the architecture, the structure of
Oh,
trance.
wow.
1/3 is my story, and 1/3 is direct
Oh,
transmissions
nice.
from Noah.
From Noah.
That book is a pull to my heart, and that book, a lot of people say that it's a tearjerker for them. The third book is really powerful as well. That's where it gets in your mind, and you really start viewing your life differently. That's where I spoke about how spirit connects with the auric field, and it makes a lot of sense. So again, I'm not taking any credit for these books except for being the author and using my human intellect. This is all spirit led. So
Beautiful.
it's worth listening to what spirit's viewpoint, and hopefully that'll help you change your view. Now the fourth book is the Oversoul. This one's a lot more difficult than I thought, because this is coming. This remembrance is coming at us like a slow leak. Drip, drip, drip. And my human mind is like, come on, give me more. I want to write this. But like, stop guessing, stop trying, just let it come.
I mean, the fact that they were channeled through Noah is just brilliant too.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, Niko. And I will be in touch, and God bless. We love your work. We love your essence. We think you're awesome.
It's always fun. Thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure. And you're awesome too, Carolyn.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Not bad for getting beat up by nuns, right?
Right? With the ruler? That's wild. When I meet you in person, I want to hear all about it.
Oh, yes. We'll laugh a lot. I can promise you that. We will laugh a lot. I've got stories.
Absolutely, I'm sure.
All right, sweetie. Much love to you.
Take care. Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone in the chat. You guys rock. And I mean it. You guys are just amazing. And don't forget, when Niko comes back, you're going to be able to see Noah. Yes, gratitude, Niko. Everybody's saying it in the chat. You'll be able to connect to Noah and have a blast. And we did that once, but we didn't have enough time. So we're going to devote a whole timeline, 2 hours worth, if Niko will allow it, to connecting with Noah, which is amazing. I'm going to be so excited. I hope somebody cancels so I can bump him up. So don't forget, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am going to be live with Angel Morgan. You guys are going to freaking love what she does and what she talks about. And tomorrow, just one topic in particular, we're going to talk about the uninvited, as Niko and I were just talking about, inside a haunted house, signs, animal partners, and what to do next. I don't know. Maybe I should have Niko in on that call too. That would be brilliant. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do believe in the intuitiveness of animals. They are able to really instinctually pick up on a lot. Like, I have this little poodle guy here, and he's a genius. He's incredible. He knows things 5 minutes before they happen. He knows when I'm coming home way before I come home. So these animals are off the charts, crazy intuitive. So thank you, everyone, so much. Thank you, United Public Radio. We adore you. For those of you listening on FM, try to head over to our YouTube channel. Give us a like. I know it's difficult when you're listening on radio, but if you can, pop over and give us a like, Ethereal Encounters Unveiled, or go on Facebook or any social media you can find us. Give us a thumbs up and a like. We greatly appreciate it. Bye-bye, everyone. See you tomorrow. Much love and great blessings.